Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Erica Steele. Welcome to another amazing week. So, this week I wanted to really talk about therapeutic order. And so it kind of hit me, especially as we were talking about informed consent last week. And so, I just want to review informed consent, build upon that concept with therapeutic order, and then really talk about what it means to be a holistic provider and really how to distinguish what a holistic provider is, because I think in today's age it is so challenging to determine fact from fiction, and there's so much confusing and conflicting information and co-opting and colonization and all the things, misappropriation. And so what I really wanted to do is just jump on and begin to educate you so you have a greater understanding of really how healthcare works and how you can use this information really into your own life to make your healthcare decisions. If you're new to my channel, I'm Dr. Erica Steele, a Board Certified Naturopathic Doctor. I have a ton of education. I like to say I went to school, so you don't have to. I have 7 degrees at this point, so lots of education, plenty of videos about my background education. So this video specifically today is all about therapeutic order. If you want to book a discovery call or check out any of my other content, we have tons of it. I have a great newsletter. Go ahead and click the link below and you can get connected with me there. All right, so let's jump in, Sally. So I first wanted to recap in terms of what informed consent meant. So let's jump into informed consent. So remember, as we discussed last time, it's really the process of gaining consent. That's why we break it down: informed, being informed of, and then consenting to. And so the healthcare provider educates the patient about risks, benefits, and then also alternatives. And so that's the part of informed consent that often gets missed, is the alternatives. And why is that? A lot of times it has to do with the particular provider's education, their background, their bias, their experience. All of those factors are going to play into a provider's recommendation of perhaps something that is off-label, off-brand, or even just something that's not part of the conventional structure, right? And so a lot of times people will try to go into the conventional healthcare model looking for a holistic provider. So they'll look for a, primary care that's holistic, or they'll look for an OBGYN that's holistic. And, I'm going to do a video on this about the distinction, because they are two distinct practices. And so understanding what really makes something natural versus just holistic. So I try to really flesh out these words because they're thrown around so much. And so with informed consent, I think a lot of times one of the key things that I find with informed consent is that the patient oftentimes is not really educated or aware. So the patient has to have a level of understanding about what is going on with their body, and then how we're going to go about treating that, right? And it is the provider's job and role to educate the patient about, what their findings are, and then what the recommended treatment plan is. And again, with informed consent, also any alternatives. Now, if they say, I don't know, most of the time they say there is none. And that's the issue with not really giving patients the entire picture so that they can truly make a more positive, more healthy, more centered decision for themselves. I think when we as providers come in with a bias, and I myself check my bias, right? So a patient comes in, maybe they have an aggressive tumor, or maybe they're in end of life stages, and they're coming to me for, my expertise in that case. I have to be responsible at that point to then educate, and then also to make that patient aware, if I'm the only provider that can work with them, and or if there's other providers that, let's say, I need to work, integratively, like let's say they're oncologist, or, another provider, let's say a more organ specific provider. So it really just depends. But I think what's missing in healthcare is a lack of really, true education about a person's, condition, and really it's because of the system, right? It's so fast paced. You're like going, 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 boom, 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 and that's what the insurance companies mandate, which really it has just a grip on health insurance. So the patients, just finishing up, the patients really must, understand, all of the risk factors for a particular treatment. And so when I hear patients come in and they're telling their providers, hey, I'm having a reaction, I'm vomiting with this medication, or I have an upset stomach with this medication, or I'm scared, I don't want to do this invasive procedure. And the reactions that they're getting from their providers definitely puts me into question, are we really giving our patients informed consent? Are we really informing our patients of all of the options? I inform my patients of all of the options, the conventional ones as well as the natural ones. I don't leave anything off the table, simply because my role is not to disseminate information in the sense that I get to choose what I think is best for the patient, but rather I educate, put everything out on the table, and then I trust and respect my patient enough that they're going to make the decisions that work best for them and their family. Okay, so the last thing with informed consent is implicit means that me as a provider, I am giving that assessment, making sure that patient is understanding, making sure that they agree to the actual recommendation, and of course that they have signed and agreed. That's part of that informed consent, is that what you're signing when they hand it to you, right, is that you understand, you agree, all of the things, and that you are going with with ethical sound understanding, no coercion. You are making this decision, without any sort of other malice or pressure. And so again, in the healthcare community, this has gotten so lost on people, where providers are really operating with their egos, patients are really scared, they're really nervous, they're really frustrated, and it's just creating this very tumultuous and very not trustworthy environment. And healthcare really needs to come back to a trustworthy environment where patients can actually trust their doctors again. And so doctors cannot be trusted if they're in bed with this person, or not objective here, or biased there, or on the hook there. We really, as doctors, we have to let go of all of our labels, and let go of all of our alignments that we have, our alliances, our allegiance to certain systems that are literally failing before our very eyes. So they're at least failing humankind, whether they're failing economically, who knows. So, okay. So then, as we kind of finished up informed consent, I just wanted to cover that so that everybody really understood what informed consent meant. Now I want to jump into therapeutic order. So therapeutic order is again how I'm able to work with patients from all different backgrounds. Meaning a patient can come to me with no symptom and literally just look for prevention, versus a patient who's coming to me and they have, chronic disease or some severe, concern. So the first step coming to me is not putting all the fires out. And I know a lot of times patients want me to, be that, firefighter. I am not. I don't like that reactive style care. That's more of an ER style care. It's more of a reactive symptom based approach. And people are leaving the healthcare, world from that system, still kind of wanting that same system, even though they're telling me they want root cause. They want, I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to heal, all the things, right? But then when the rubber meets the road and you have to put aside your old habits, or you have to work on your mindset, or you have to process some emotional trauma you didn't deal with, from years ago, or you have to, break up with a friend, or whatever's holding you back. And in holistic medicine, it's not just one thing. We don't have the luxury in our practice to be intellectually lazy. I'll say that. And why I say that is this: we don't have the luxury to go, oh, I don't know what it is. Okay, bye. Or I don't know what it is. Go see Dr. So and so. When a patient comes to us, first things first is we have to see out of balance they are, and we have to establish that foundation. Patients come in and they are nutrient depleted, they are overly toxic, they have no energy, they're on multiple medications, they can't sleep well, stress level is through the roof, their finances are in array, just their lives are a lot of times very out of control. And so coming to a practice like mine, kind of spinning all over the place, it can be very frustrating, right? When you're coming in, expecting one system, wanting another system, but not having the skills and techniques to really adjust to the process. So videos like this hopefully can provide clarity, not just for my current patients, but also, people that are interested in holistic practice, either as a provider or, as a patient. So we want to establish that foundation, and then we want to start to we trust that the body has an ability to heal itself, right? So we're going to give the body what it needs, right? That's why biochemistry comes in handy. We want to give the body the nutrition, right? We want to stabilize, and then we want to give that body the nutrition that it needs. And then we may want to focus on, let's say, supporting the thyroid. But we know that, the hormonal system is a responsive system. It's going to be responding to our digestive system. Same thing with our immune system and our nervous system. So again, we want to work smarter and not harder. We want to trust the body's wisdom to heal itself, and we want to follow this therapeutic order. Why? Because this is our roadmap to help you if you ever get off of it, because eventually you want to know this for yourself. It's not to create dependency, but rather to build support, right? So that you understand how your body works and what you need to do in order to heal yourself. And so physical symptoms then come, at that point, let's say if you have hormonal bleeding, or you have some pain somewhere, or you've got flu-like symptoms that won't go away, or rashes or skin breakouts, or whatever. So we can do various different natural things to help with symptom management. But remember, symptom management is not our primary goal. And so I know a lot of people like that approach. I will not tolerate it. I have boundaries because people are coming to me for a reason. And what happens with symptom management is it never works out the way you think it does, meaning that it gives you that quick fix because you think you're doing something, and maybe it gives you that temporary relief, but long term, you're just going to be, taking supplements instead of pharmaceuticals, and it just doesn't work. And so as we work on building the body, as the body begins to get well, symptoms drop off, and different, symptoms of deficiencies will create it. Like, for instance, like a weird one. If you ever hear a heartbeat on your pillow, right? That's actually mineral deficiency. A lot of times magnesium. Most people don't know that. These are very common things, common ailments. Oh my gosh, let's say I feel like I have a little bit of AFib or tachycardia, right? Really, maybe it's a magnesium deficiency. And because I didn't know therapeutic order, I ran into the ER, and they did this big cardiac workup, and they're looking at me like I'm a crazy person because there's nothing wrong medically, but really I'm just deficient in magnesium. But nobody's telling me that because they're waiting for me to break down enough based off my own ignorance. So we definitely don't want to do that, which is why we want to learn these things. So again, it kind of builds that. But then you get into the more aggressive, pharmacological symptom management, because the natural things maybe aren't strong enough or not stable enough. Now, that's a tricky one in terms of when you decide to cross over. And pain is one that, I don't really mess with a lot, just simply because there are so many more risk factors to the body being under sustained pain. We're talking 6-7 level pain consistently. We're not talking about, I sprained my ankle kind of pain. So, even though that's valid pain, but naturally you can manage that naturally versus, a more severe style pain. So things like that, we make those determinations, and, It's not that we don't recognize certain imbalances. Actually, the quite opposite. We want to make sure that the treatment is appropriate for the condition, which is why we do spend a little bit more time case taking and really getting to the bottom of what the root cause is, rather than symptom management. So and then last thing, obviously, high force interventions. We're talking surgeries, procedures, etc. So things where we're having to go into your body. Not my scope of practice, but something that we understand and know about, simply so we can say, okay, at that need for, let's say I see these glucose numbers and they've been over 200, and we've been having discussions and you've been tracking this and doing that, but just we're not getting where we need to be. That's where we need to go. Knock, knock, primary care. Let's talk about some different options, temporary, while we're working on these things, right? Or let's say a patient comes in and they're like, I absolutely don't want any medication anymore, but we find out, let's say they're type 1. Well, guess what? That's not going to be an option. And as much as I would want that for everybody, unfortunately, there are certain times where we need synthetics to help. So not to worry, we have therapeutic order. Even if I don't operate in my practice, I make sure that I send you off with, your appropriate information, referral, etc. So you're coming from a trusted source and you understand, what it is you're asking for, what the benefits are, what the risks are, what the nutrient interactions are. You probably never hear about that in terms of what nutrients, if you are taking synthetics, what nutrients, minerals, vitamins that you need to replace because those synthetics drip out. Or sometimes, you're taking things years, and you come to find out, oh, I wasn't supposed to take Prilosec and Nexium for 5, 10, 20 years, right? So anywho, therapeutic order is an incredibly important tool. Naturally, it helps us to guide, as naturopaths and holistic doctors, it helps us to guide our treatment plan to, help determine, if a patient's coming in and they're at a higher risk, we know our intervention level needs to start off higher just for symptom management, but we still have to go through all those foundational pieces. We can't just let it go. And so the last thing I want to talk about is a holistic practice and a holistic lifestyle. So when I'm working with people and I'm teaching them, I'm teaching you how to literally, this is not just a learning head thing. This is an embodiment. This is how I live my life every single day. The things that I'm sharing, the things that I'm teaching, the struggles that we're having. All of us, I struggle with water every day, meaning that I have to really be conscious to make sure that I'm drinking. It's not an automatic thing. It's something I have to practice. I have to track my water like everybody else. I have to track my protein. I have to do all the things, right? But here's what happens, right? As you continue to practice and you continue to do the things and you continue to implement and follow the process, it gets easier and easier and easier. And if you're still stuck, discovery call, plenty of online courses that I offer, all the things, like, share, subscribe, lots of content. I know this video is long, but definitely worth the conversation. So